Okay, people, let's get real. How many of us, yes, I said us because I'm putting myself in the same dang category. How many of us are drowning in our to-do lists, hustling nonstop, and still feeling like we are going nowhere? Nowhere. Be honest. Are you busy? Or are you actually moving closer to what you want? Spoiler alert, they are not the same thing. And here's the deal. We have been sold this hustle culture lie that grinding all day equals success. Not anymore. And I'm not taking it anymore. I don't believe it anymore. I used to. I bought in hook, line, and sinker, you guys. But what if I told you that doing less, not more, could actually get you ahead? Today on the podcast, we are going to break down The One Thing by Gary Keller. It is a book and a concept that, when it really is taken to heart, will change everything. It's about cutting out all the crap and focusing on what really matters. And by the end of this episode, you're going to have a new way of thinking about your goals, your time, and your life as we get ready to go into a new year. So if you're tired of spinning your wheels, this one's for you. Let's get after it. Truth time. When's the last time you raised your hands for a swift kick in the pants? Well, I'm the no-nonsense type friend who's going to tell you when you have food in your teeth. So let's get right to it. This is your infusion of sacred and secular, calling you higher into who God created you to be, exploring how intimately faith applies to every part of your life, and how you can live that faith every single day in the marketplace. I felt the tension of separation of church and state. I've been one of the few women at a table of men for decades, and I've stood my ground. Are you ready to do the same? These tools, resources, and interviews are meant to do just that. I'm Jan Touchberry, and it's time to share her faith at work. Okay, friend, let's talk about the hustle and grind hamster wheel. You know what I'm talking about. Yes, you do. Those days when you're checking off tasks like a machine, feeling super accomplished until you realize that none of what you just spent the last 8 or 10 hours on moved the needle. Yes, I've had so many of those days, I've stopped counting. Like, I literally feel like I'm working from sun up to sundown, sitting at my computer, staring at a computer screen. And then when I look at everything that I think that I've accomplished, has it moved me toward my goal? No, it's just checking things off the dadgum to-do list. Here's why that happens. Most of us confuse being busy with being productive. And Gary Keller, the author of the book, The One Thing, nails it when he says to-do lists are really just survival lists, not success lists. Anybody feel that? I really feel that, especially right now in this time of the year as we're wrapping things up from the year that we're currently in and looking forward to a new year in the middle of all the holiday hustle and bustle that comes in December. So think about it. How many goals are you chasing right now? Like real, tangible goals? 5, 10, 20? That's probably why you feel burned out. Yep. You're spreading yourself too thin, trying to do everything at once. And let's be honest, it's not your fault. It's not your fault. We have actually been conditioned to think that more is better. But newsflash, more is really just more. It's not better. I was at a conference a couple months ago and I got a t-shirt that says, do less, but better. And as I go into 2025 and have revisited this concept of the one thing, I'm going to live into that. Do less, but better. More is just more. Let's do less, but better. When we try to do more, we end up just being average at it all. We miss deadlines. I don't know about you, but my brain gets foggy and I start dropping plates, which is not my current MO. But when I'm in this hustle and grind, have to do everything and pull it all out of the hat, that's That's where we're at, right? I miss deadlines. I lose time between tasks. I have higher stress levels than normal, which is not good for my health. It's not good for anybody. And I miss time with my family and things that are really important to me. And I'm done with all that. I don't want to do another year on that hamster wheel. I just don't. So, when we look at our activities and the fact that they can tend to be driven by other people's agendas or their perceived emergencies, or at the very least, what others deem to be important, I think it's fair to ask ourselves if we're on the right track or if we are really focusing on what we should be focusing on. So here's the question that I think we really need to ask. What's actually working? What's getting results? And why are we wasting our time on every other dadgum thing? Have you stopped long enough to think about what's actually working in your business, in your life, in whatever area? I mean, this concept that we're going to break down can actually be done in multiple areas of your life, not just your business. So if you don't have a business, don't quit listening because I'm telling you this is for you. What's actually working in your life right now? What's getting you the results that you want? And why are you wasting your time on everything else? It is a myth that everything, or even multiple things, have the same or equal importance. They just don't. So let's flip the script. Instead of asking, how can I do it all? Let's try this. Gary Keller says to ask, what's the one thing that I can do such that by doing it, everything else will be easier or unnecessary? I'm going to say that again. What's the one thing that I can do such that by doing it, everything else will be easier or unnecessary? You need to write that down because I'm telling you that that is a question that changes everything. So let's break it down a little bit, okay? So a to-do list is like throwing spaghetti against the wall. Let's face it. There's no rhyme or reason to it. You're literally just throwing things on a list so that you don't forget them, which is good. It's not bad to have a to-do list, y'all. But is it really a success list? No. A success list is laser focused. It's short, it's intentional, and it is aimed at a clear goal. Now, can you have both at the same time? Yeah, because we probably need to-do lists. You probably need a running list of to-dos that you have to buy at the grocery store or fix around your house or get done before the holidays. Fair, right? But a success list is what's going to get you closer to your goal. And this stuff is not just fluff, I promise you. It's backed by something called the Pareto principle. I don't know if you've ever heard that. It's kind of the 80-20 rule. That's a little bit more well known, right? But the Pareto principle says that the main idea of it is that 80% of your results come from 20% of your efforts. 80% of your results come from 20% of your efforts. But Gary Keller in this book takes it further and he keeps narrowing that 20% and narrowing it again and narrowing it again until you land on one thing. One thing. So here's an example. Say you're trying to grow your business. Instead of wasting time on every social media platform, figure out which one drives the most traffic and go all in on that. That's your 20%. That's your one thing for social media. You see how that works? So how do you actually apply it? Let's make it even a little bit more tangible. Gary calls this goal setting to the now. It's about starting with your someday goal and working backward, like reverse engineering it. I love reverse engineering things. It just makes so much sense to my brain, but not everybody is super good at that. So think of it like dominoes. Did you know that one domino can bring down another domino that is 1.5 times its size? So if you want to take advantage of the domino effect, aim for your large goal, but start with the one right task to start all of the rows of dominoes falling so that you can reach your goal. So your someday goal, reverse engineer it to your 5-year goal. Reverse engineer that to your 1-year goal. Reverse engineer that to your monthly goal. Reverse engineer that to your weekly goal. Reverse engineer that to your daily goal. And reverse engineer that into what can I do right now in this second in order to get me toward my daily goal. And then when I do that, is my daily goal going to get me to my weekly goal? And what is my weekly goal? And is that going to get me to my monthly goal? And then what is my monthly goal? And is that going to get me to my yearly goal? Does that make sense? If that doesn't make sense and you want to talk about reverse engineering your goals, will you please reach out to me on social media? I actually love doing this for people, and it sometimes can help if you get an outside perspective of what you're trying to do. And just, I don't know about you, I'm a verbal processor. And so just having somebody to talk about this stuff with might be beneficial. So anyway, feel free to reach out. Anyway, let's say your someday goal is financial independence. Okay. So what's the one thing you can do this year to get closer to financial independence? Maybe it's launching a new product. Okay, so you launch a new product, we'll break that down. What's the one thing you can do this month, this week, today to get you closer to launching your new product, right? And like I said before, this actually can work in every area of your life. Do you see what I'm talking about, right? In your spiritual life. What's the one habit that you can do that will strengthen your faith, your health? What's the one action that you can take right now that will lead to a win for today, that will lead for a win for the week, that will lead for a win for the month, that will lead to a win for the year, and move the needle on your well-being, right? Business, what's the one strategy that will grow your revenue this quarter? Reverse engineer that. What does that look like for the month? What does that look like for the week? What does that look like for the day? What does that look like for this hour, right? Okay, so now it's your turn. I want you to think about your big goal. What's the one thing you can do today to start tipping the dominoes? This is gonna take some thought. Okay, so I hope after you listen to this podcast, it really has your mind spinning and you can carve out some time to really think about each area of your life and how this can be put into practice to move the needle. If you need a little bit more of a tangible example, let me try this one. In 2025, I want to grow my email list by 500 people. Okay. So I could send more emails to the people already on my list. Sure. I could create campaigns. Sure. I could post on social media. Sure. I could create more lead magnets to cover more people. Sure. I could do all of those things, but are they going to grow my list by 500 people in 2025? I don't know. But let's get super tangible. What if I look at it through the 80-20 lens? What's the one thing that by doing it, everything else will be easier or unnecessary? Well, I could create a lead magnet that speaks directly to the needs and desires of my truest ideal client and then promote the heck out of it. Single focus on that lead magnet. That's my one thing. It goes everywhere and I don't deviate from it. Okay, what if you don't know your truest ideal client? Well, that sounds like you may have just found your one thing. Focus on that first, people. I hope that this has been making sense to you. I want to talk now about how to protect your one thing once you know what it is. Because trust me, the world is out to distract you. Every ding of your phone, every ring of the doorbell, every notification that comes across any of your multiple devices, the world is out to distract you. Here's a wild stat. Did you know that we get interrupted every 11 minutes on average? And it takes, are you ready for this? I don't think you are. 23 minutes to get refocused. We get interrupted every 11 minutes and it takes 23 minutes to refocus. Let's do the math. That is 676 hours a year wasted on distractions. That is insane, right? So how do you fight back? time blocking. It's one of my favorite things. I will be the first to say that I am not the master of it, but I really want to be. So here's how it works. Figure out when your brain is at its best. Morning, afternoon, whatever that looks like for you. I personally am a mid-morning girl. After I've had a good cup of coffee and I've had time to shake the cobwebs out of my brain, I've been on my walk, I've gotten myself together, usually around 10 a.m. That is my best time, from about 10 o'clock to 2 o'clock. I know that I work my best. I need to be blocking that time out to do my one thing. Whatever your best time of the day is. Some people work their best in the wee hours of the morning. That is not me. I'm slumbering. But I know people who do. That's the time that they need to block to be working on their one thing. You can use tools to stay locked and loaded. I have started using my focus tool on my computer. Um, I think all Apple devices have that. You can turn that on for an hour, you can turn it on for 2 hours, whatever, and it just shuts off all your notifications so that you're not getting those dings and being distracted all the time, right? There's also an app that I really like called the Flat Tomato. Flat Tomato, yeah, like the tomato that you eat. Flat Tomato app. It's free, and it actually allows you to set chunks of time. It's like a little timer. I think it sets like 20-minute chunks of time. And then once that 20 minutes is over, the timer goes off and you get to stand up and take a stretch break. And then you can do another, they call it a Pomodoro. So then you can do another 20 minutes and it's focused time. Can you think about how much more you can get accomplished in a 20-minute time span that is strictly focused, not interrupted by anything or anyone, than if you were to not time block and just go throughout your day and take every distraction as it comes? How much more are you going to be able to get done when you're focused than when you're unfocused and filled with distractions all day long, right? You can also create visual reminders so you don't forget what matters most. I personally like a good sticky note. I have them, a lot of them. I'm not going to lie. Um, I have them in all my favorite colors and they make me happy. And I put them everywhere. You can use phone wallpapers. You can use computer wallpapers. You can write on your bathroom mirror, whatever works for you, but use visual reminders so you don't forget what matters most. What's your one thing? What are you going to do today? What are you going to do for the week? What are you going to do for the month? Write it so that it's front of mind and you can do what you need to do in order to get to your goal. Okay. And don't forget, there's another myth out there that it takes 21 days to create a new habit. False, black bear. It takes 66 days at least to build a habit. So for the next 2 months, you need to commit to focusing on your one thing every single day with no excuses. 66 days to build a habit. Find your one thing, commit for 2 months to doing it every single day, no excuses, and it will move the needle toward your goal. So let's wrap this up. Here's the truth. Hustle culture is a lie. You don't need to do more. You need to do what matters. So you need to ask the focus question, what's the one thing that'll make everything else easier or unnecessary? You need to break it down with the goal setting to the now, and you need to protect your focus like your life depends on it because it just might. So here's your challenge. Write down your one thing and make that happen today. And I would love to hear about it. Shoot me a message on social media. You can shoot me an email. I am here to cheer you on. And one last thing. If this episode hit home for you, will you share it with a friend who needs to hear it? I would love to start a movement of people doing less and achieving more. Do less, but better. So until next time, remember, success is not about doing everything. It's about doing the right thing. So let's go crush it. Have a great week.
Thanks for joining me for another episode of Her Faith at Work. If the Lord put someone on your heart that you think needs to hear this message today, will you just smash that share button? And if you haven't already followed the show, I would love for you to do that. Super extra points if you hop over to Apple Podcasts and leave us a review. That helps the algorithm pick us up and drop us right in the AirPods of people that need to hear what the Lord is saying to them today. I hope you'll come back for the next episode of Her Faith at Work. The podcast comes out every Wednesday. And if you look down in the show notes, I've even got a couple of free downloads for you that I think you will really enjoy. With that, have a great week. See you next time.